Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya Te.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya Te.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya Te.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya,
Haribol, everybody sing it, chant
Radha
loud.
Krishna Prestaya
Haribol.
Te.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Vrinda.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Vrinda.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna,
Madana Mohana,
Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna,
Madana Mohana. Haribol, everybody sing loud. Chaitanya Das. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna,
Madana Mohana,
Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Haribo Krishna,
Madana Mohana,
Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Haribo Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Haribo Krishna,
Madana Mohana,
Haribo Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Haribo Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama.
Haribol Nitai Gaur, Haribol, Haribol. Haribol, Jai Srila Prabhupada, Haribol, Haribol. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Govinda
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Ora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda
Haribo Jai Shri Prabhupada Jai Shri Haribo Nitay Gaur. I'd like to read something here about the teachings of our instructing spiritual master coming from Sukadev Goswami, instruction to Maharaj Pariksit, and elaborated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami in connection with the desire of our initiating spiritual master, who is the pure loving servant of the Supreme Person. The subject matter that we'll discuss today is about association. Association. Whom you're with, whom you hear, whom you talk with, whom you get along with, okay? Is it clear to you guys? Okay? Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Guru Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Bol Namaste. So I'll read this, okay? O best of kings, one who is faithful, who is always hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always engaged in the culture of Krishna consciousness and in hearing of the Lord's activities, very soon becomes eligible to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Okay? Very direct in a nutshell, okay? O best of kings, one who is faithful, who is always hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always engaged in the culture of Krishna consciousness and in hearing of the Lord's activities, very soon becomes eligible to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. One who has faith, who is focused upon listening, hearing and applying the teachings of our initiating spiritual master, Saktabesh Avatar, empowered living entity, the pure loving servant of the Supreme Person. Ang mangyayari, when we engage in hearing, we are cultivating or we are developing the culture, okay? Listening to in understanding, okay? Nurturing or watering the plant by what we're doing, guided by our instructing spiritual master. So here, very clear, very simple, okay? If we always listen and follow faithfully the instruction ng spiritual master natin, then we become eligible to see the Supreme Person face to face. Okay? So how does it come? Remember the teachings of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita? That Lord Krishna is advising Arjuna, telling him, giving him guidance. One must search a bona fide spiritual master then surrender to Him, render service to Him, hear from Him, and follow His instruction. It's not different from the will of the Supreme Person. Okay? It's not different. Okay? So when we're given this opportunity to come in contact with the confidential loving servant of God, who is the most pleasing, our Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada. Okay? Then we can hear about the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Person, and now we learn more about what is our relationship with God through the examples given to us by the saintly person with their success in their lives. Dahil sa pagsunod nila sa spiritual master, we can see how they succeeded. Okay? How they were able to see Lord Krishna face to face. Okay. So through the blessings of the saintly person, like for example, during the pastimes of Lord Krishna in Dwarka, when Kalayabana and Jarasandha attacked Dwarka city, okay, Muchukukunda, who is a great Vaishnava, a devotee of Lord Krishna, who sacrificed his time, energy to help the demigods, those who are godly, saintly individuals, giving up everything just to do what is pleasing to Krishna. So at the time he took his rest after fighting so many battles for so long that he's the only one left sa family nila. Wala na lahat, siya na lang. So he was given this boon to rest. And Lord Krishna came to fetch him face to face. Okay? Face to face. When Dhruva Maharaj, he wanted a kingdom greater than his father. As a young boy, he went to the forest and meditated upon Lord Vishnu, Krishna, to acquire or to gain a kingdom greater than his father, okay? Then Krishna came, and his interest for anything other than to please Krishna is what happened, okay? He's not interested anymore with the kingdom. He's not interested na sa lahat ng bagay, simply a connection with his meditation and the happiness to be always seeing the Supreme Person. And thus, how does it happen? This connection, it is based upon devotional service. Okay, what is devotional service? It is when we come to understand who we really are, and we now understand that our longing, our love, affection, our will now is dovetailed one-pointedly to do the will of God. We don't have any more will of our own. Undeviated, very fixed. So if we cultivate this transcendental knowledge about the eternal pastimes, hearing the eternal pastimes of Lord Krishna, the glories of Lord Krishna, okay, coming from the lips of our Gurudev, then we can see Krishna face to face. Because the first effect that we will realize is that we are transcendental to this body. Okay? So meaning it is us who is seeing, who is hearing. Through the eyes we see, through the ears we hear. Okay? But the problem is, when we identify with the body, we think the eye sees, the ear hears. No? You cannot see the separation. You know what separation? You are not the witness anymore. Hindi ka na ang witness. Kaya when you work, for example, you use your body. Okay? If you identify your body as yourself, you think, I'm tired. Okay? But I'm not saying that you'll work your body to death. What I'm saying is that you're beginning to use your body and the body gets tired, experience the heat, but you are able to see this body as a vehicle, a tool you can use. And in the work you're doing, it is an offering to Krishna. Okay? So you're able to be the witness. Okay? That when your body is tired, you rest. Okay? You take care of your body. Who's taking care of the body? When the body is thirsty, you feel this thirst, that the tongue, you need to be quenched with the water. Okay? You drink the water. Okay? Who's drinking the water? Coming through the mouth, tasting the coolness of the water. It is you, the person, tasting, okay, through the tongue. You become the witness of what is happening through your body, okay? But sometimes, when we experience the pain of this world, for example, toothache, okay, you experience that there's something wrong. Your tooth is inflamed because there's contamination there. There's pus, and it is a sign that the pain points to something. Okay? Pain points to something. Halimbawa, may masakit. Bakit masakit, namamaga? It points to something, that there's a problem. Okay? So when the living entity, you, the person, you experience the pain, the pangs of thirst, hunger, lamentation, envy, discontentment, hindi kayo kontento, you're miserable, it points to something. Okay? You ask this question, why? Because you're covered by this body and the mind. Okay? And this world is a world of suffering. And the body is connected with time, and you identify with the body, you think, I'm suffering. Okay? But that doesn't mean that I am not suffering, I'll just engage in whatever I want to do. No. You become aware of your situation. Just like pain. Why is there pain? Everybody runs away from pain. But it's built in that the body experiences pain. Okay? Why? If you don't have an experience of pain, halimbawa, you cook barbecue there, you put your hands there on top of the charcoal, burning charcoal, and you don't have this gift from God, the pain, what will happen? Your hands will be barbecued, and it will, after a while, it gets burned, then all the water comes out, then you look, wow, how come there's only bones left? Okay. Pain is great because it points to something. Okay. That's why when you feel sadness in your heart, you feel loneliness, insecurity, it points to something. That you're longing for someone to take care of you, to love you, to serve, to be able to be connected with your love. Okay? So that is understood clearly when we have someone who is very gentle, very kind, very merciful. That is the devotee of Krishna. Okay? He guides us. He teaches us that we are in this predicament, this problem. Alam yung predicament? Great predicament. Okay? Laking problema. Okay? But it cannot be just trying to use your brain, your intelligence. You read the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Vedas, and you think you're above. No. It means that the soul, us, should be connected with what we're longing for. And that is the transcendental relationship that our spiritual master wants us to be in and focus, serving and loving Krishna. That's why when you hear, let's do the will of God, you have no more will of your own. Okay? But if you're covered with false ego, it's very painful, to give up lordship. Okay? You're very, why? Why will I serve? I have my own will. Okay? But if you look closely, tinignan nyo maigi, your own will did not protect you, did not save you. Understand? Your outlook that you are alone and you can hack it out. Alam mo yung hack it out? This jungle. Para bang there's this jungle. There's so much bushes, thorns, and everything, and you cannot get out of it. But you think, I'm gonna hack it out with your small bolo and try to traverse the jungle. What happens? You end up entangled in the jungle, covered by the leeches. The predator are there. The anaconda, the lion, the tiger, the centipede, the snakes, and wow, how can I get out of here? Okay? So, when we are aware, we become aware, yes, how come I have this resistance? Not to do my own will, but to do the will of someone who is the cause of all causes. Someone who loves me eternally. And someone who cares for me, my Gurudev. How come there's resistance? It's because we are so contaminated and conditioned of this false ego, lordship. Okay? That's why when Krishna tells us, I'll be the driver, just surrender unto me and I'll protect you. There's resistance. Okay? Because for so long we've been conditioned to do our own will. But mind you, look back up to now, you have been trying, all of you here, to do your own will. Are you successful? Are you successful? To figure out, you try to figure out how you can get out of this jungle, of this desert world. You're drowning. You try to figure out with your own power how to get out of the drowning situation. What is the drowning situation? We're burning with lust. What is lust all about? It is an endless pursuit of trying to find fulfillment, happiness. Okay? But because we are in false bodily identification, we direct that search through the senses. Because we have been given this field of activity. And the mind, gives us impetus, motivates us with all the desires. And you think, I'm gonna make a decision to get out of this jungle of misery, or this drowning ocean, or this desert world. But who is successful amongst us? None. Okay? None, di ba? You're here. Your mind is your guidance. Okay? Your mind is your guidance, but your mind is limited, and you're not the mind. Then you can say to your mind, no, I don't want to follow you. And then you can use your intelligence. The desire in the mind, your intelligence, when you chant the holy names, you become purified through the sound incarnation of God, the Supreme Purifier. You are now experiencing a purified intelligence. Okay? You understand clearly now that you are a different energy from Mother. Okay? That you're limited. Is it clear sa inyo? So it doesn't mean that when your body gets old, becomes so strong, and you're with all this knowledge, okay, you read the Vedas back to back, you think you're strong? No. That is not the process. The process is pure devotional service. Because Lord Krishna tells us, serve and love my devotee. And what does a devotee tells us? Serve and love Krishna. Okay? And Krishna tells us, if you reject my devotee, then we have no relationship. And if you tell to the devotee, I don't want to serve Krishna, then you don't have a relationship. Why is that? Because we have been conditioned to think we're Lord of all our survey. We survey. Akala natin tayo yung Lord. That's why the guidance na mayroon tayo is based upon absolute, eternal. Number 1, scriptures. Ano ang ibig sabihin ng scripture? The Word of God. Coming from God Himself. Defining the truth clearly, eternal, okay? About our true transcendental nature, about our true transcendental position, and our true transcendental activities. And through the guidance of Scripture, coming from our instructing spiritual master, Lord Krsna, Lord Vyasadeva, who put it into writing, then we can hear and remember the pastimes of sweet Lord Krsna. Okay? The Battle of Kurukshetra. We're able to hear Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, how we can go back to the world that is God's pleasure. And since the Supreme Person is the source of pleasure, Govinda, and we are not all-powerful and not self-sufficient, He teaches us how to be in harmony with the transcendental world that gives us life. Tindihan niyo? So in this age of Kali Yuga, the spiritual master comes. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And who comes in the name of the Lord? Krishna Himself, our initiating spiritual master, God the servant, none different from God. So if we are fortunate to come in contact with the pure loving servant of God, you're with Krishna, because His teaching is always connected eternally, absolutely with the will of God. And you follow it, then you experience this transcendental joy and security. Okay? So, when we are in this situation now, we feel we are fearful. You know what's fear? Hadlok ba? Takot tayo. We are insecure. Ano yung insecure? Alam natin, wala tayong tinatapakan na security talaga. Lahat ng hawak natin, lahat mawawala sa kamay natin. Okay? Even the body that we cling on will be separated from us. You'll be separated from your body at the time of death. But if our consciousness is not in harmony with God's will, then we cannot transcend material desires. And if we have material desires, then we'll come back to this world. Suffer again, on and on. That's why yung process natin is to be liberated. What is liberation? To become free from material desires. Because the living entity, we are all longing for happiness, fulfillment, and an experience of a relationship that is eternal and that can only be addressed by the Supreme Person. So Lord Krishna tells us in Bhagavad Gita, He tells us who He is. He's the Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. He tells us He's the support. He tells us that we, the living entity, by nature we will be active. While we are in this body, it will be very hard for all of us to transcend the three modes of material nature. Very hard. And the only way we can transcend it is when we engage in devotional service. What is devotional service? When our love, yung pag-ibig natin, inalay natin sa Panginoong Diyos. Magsilbi tayo ba? And how is it being arranged? Through hearing. Hearing. Hearing means cultivation. And the hearing process is so powerful that it purifies our heart. Purifies the mind. It will be very easy now to redirect the mind. Because previously, sa conditioning natin, our search for happiness is being directed by the mind, guided by the three modes of material nature. Naintindihan niya? And you glide to that. Okay? Alam niyo yung glide? You get sucked in because you identify with the body. Okay? But when a person cultivates knowledge, transcendental knowledge through hearing, our lives become pleasing to God because we now follow someone who is pleasing to God. And that direction comes from God Himself, hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. That's why we are advised to find someone who is a bona fide spiritual master. And a bona fide spiritual master has no material consideration. He's transcendental to the three modes of material nature, like Narada Muni, like Srila Prabhupada, like His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, coming from Parampara. They're all transcendental to the three modes of material nature. And that can be achieved when we connect our lives, our heart, our life, in doing the will of God. Until and unless we are contaminated by the false ego, this disease of lordship, we cannot enter that world. Why? We will be driven by material desires. We will be driven by this contamination of the three modes of material nature, encumbered, covered. Intindihan nyo? Is it clear to you? So I'll read this. Dito lang muna tayo kasi we have a lot of O best of kings, one who is faithful, who is always hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always engaged in the culture. Culture ba? Alam niyo yung mag-culture ka ng culture. Develop mo ba yung, halimbawa, i-culture mo yung isang bagay, padamihin mo. Okay? Mag-culture ka ng mushroom. Alam niyo yung ganon? Okay? Mag-culture ka ba? Okay? One who is engaged in the culture of Krishna consciousness and in hearing the Lord's activities very soon becomes eligible to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. But to hear about the transcendental nature of the Supreme Person, we must hear that from someone who is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Intindihan nyo? Not from someone who just reads scriptures and try to define scriptures according to his material consideration. Okay? Only the representative of God, the devotee of God, can elaborate and interpret the teachings of God because He's God Himself. Okay? Intindihan nyo? Is it clear sa inyo? Kaya it's a very tall order. Very tall order. And if we use our mind to portray that we are devotees and very advanced, then that is not the process. The process is to surrender to someone who is a pure loving servant of God. And that is exemplified by Lord Chaitanya, God Himself. Remember Lord Chaitanya? He came. He approached Ishvara Puri, his spiritual master. Ang sabi sa kanya ni Ishvara Puri, because you're less intelligent, just chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Okay? God Himself is giving us His life's example how we can approach Him through the attitude of humility. Alam niyo humility? Pagpakumbaba ba? But if we are in this consciousness of contaminated, we think we are devotees, but our consciousness is contaminated. There's this arrogance. Arrogance. We cannot enter that pure world of devotional service. Okay? When one has material desires, what are material desires? It's all about you. Trying to portray, imitate the guru. Thinking externally, oh, he has many followers. Okay? I want to have followers. You try to speak like him. You try to look like him. You imitate him. Okay? He talks like that. You talk also like that. You parrot what he says. You understand? Parroting. Okay? How can we enter that world of devotional service? It means we must surrender unconditionally. Unconditionally. When you relate to someone in this world, There's always condition, yeah? Alam mo yung condition? For example, a young boy woos a young girl. Alam mo yung woo? Manligaw Okay? Okay? I want to love you, serve you, And what does he do? Okay? Send flowers, Okay? Assist her. Do her will. Understand? That's how we relate in this world. But when we do that in a contaminated state, we have our own will. Okay? It's not dovetailed with her will because we're individuals, her will and your will. Okay? You have your own will, she has her own will. So, devotional service means we transcend all this conditioning. No condition, unconditional love. Okay? Just remember when Prahlad was saved by Lord Nrsingadev. Remember that story? Okay? And Lord Nrsingadev asked him, ask anything, and it will be given. Okay? Anything. What benediction you would want. Okay? He's not asking anything from Lord Nrsingadev. He only asked, please forgive my father. Understand? So the devotee is self-contained. Why? Alam mo self-contained? He has everything. Because his heart, his life, through the life's example of our Gurudev, who has pure unalloyed devotional service. Pure unalloyed, no material consideration. That is the spiritual master. And he guides us to enter that world. To also experience unconditional love to Lord Krishna. By giving our lives. No more will of our own. Your will be done. I have no more will of my own. And it's a tall order because you have to engage in the practice of devotional service. Okay? To become free, you must receive the holy names through hearing. You use this body now, the cause before you're running away from pain. Okay? But you cannot run away from pain because the body is connected with pain. Birth, death, diseases, and knowledge. Okay? Diseases. You have this inflammation sa, it's painful. You have toothache. Sino may toothache? Hindi ko nakita si rito. Oh, you have toothache every day, di ba? You nurture, you culture yung toothache mo, di ba? Parati. What is this? You pamper it, Muraridas, okay? Yung pain until you get condition na is alright. Okay? But what you should do is just, pull your teeth. Go to the dentist, pull it out. But you're afraid of that, the hiringilya or, what's that? Syringe. With that, long needle. And it's very sturdy because the dentist is so powerful, It's not like they give you vaccine, this plastic, no. We go to the dentist, she has this syringe, and long needle. Because the needle, if it sway like that, it will not break. Kaya, okay. Your teeth, is there with all, the anchor, you have this teeth, the molar, it's like that, anchored. And the dentist, where it's connected with all the veins, put anesthesia 10 times, then your face becomes as hard as stone. You know that? As hard as stone, okay? Then the dentist brings this plier, different plier. First, the plier that hold your head. Then you can hear on your head. It cannot be pulled, you know. Then get another plier, you know. Then pull it. Then it gets this cotton because blood comes. Bite. And then you look at the cause of your suffering. You look, it shows you, you know, this is your teeth. And it's full of pus. You know, it's already rotten. And for all those years, you just... Okay? Okay. If you don't have this material body, you don't have the mind, because these are all temporary. And you're connected with the will of God. Your love, your life, that is your shelter. Okay? Then you come to the point, there's nothing more to be gained except to do the will of God. You don't need anything. Because your life now, your happiness is sustainable. Alam mo yung sustainable? Sustainable. Walang hanggan, walang katapusan. That's why the process that is given to us is a connection with the cause of all causes, the Supreme Purifier, the Lord of Love, who is self-sufficient, the self-sufficient philosopher. Because we are not all-powerful, we are not self-sufficient. The spiritual master gives us a process, and that process is culturing Krishna consciousness. How do you culture Krishna consciousness? Meaning, remembering God. And how do you remember God in this age of Kali Yuga? The sound. God descends as the sound incarnation. Krishna. Krishna, the spiritual master is there. Vrindavan is there. Krishna is self-sufficient. The sound, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is non-different from the personality of Govinda, Krishna, synonymous. Intindihan nyo? Synonymous. It's like you have a glass of, you have bottles here every day, water, okay? Your Nichalila tells you, okay, hydrate. But you don't say, hydrate. Water, you know? You get the object water, you drink the object water. Because the object water is different from the sound water. Intindihan nyo? Or the mango. You want to taste mango. I've seen Sir Bhagavandas offered the mango, okay? But he'll eat it. It doesn't belong to me. I just, mango. Why don't you come and ask, Sir, can I have a slice of the mango? Okay? Understand? Okay, I'll read na lang. Ito muna. O best of kings, one who is faithful, okay? Who is always hearing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always engaged in culture of Krishna consciousness and in hearing the Lord's activities, very soon becomes eligible to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. This is talks between Narada Muni and King Prachina Barhi, 303. Page 303 na this Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay? You see, there's so many unlimited teachings. Okay? Page 303. Text 39. Text 38. Fourth Canto, Chapter 29. Fourth Canto. Anyway, I'll just put a marker here. You know the difference between so-called faith and so-called religion is that what is being given to us by Lord Krishna is a connection with what is eternal, meaning sustainable. That is devotional service. So when we make progress, our relationship with the Supreme Person, we cultivate it. We become closer to the process that is giving us. Understand? association with the devotee, association with the resident of the spiritual world of Vrindavan is following the teachings of our Gurudev. He has the potency to purify us. He has the mercy of the spiritual master. His mercy protects us because the spiritual master wants to protect us. Because we are conditioned, we don't take care of this love, of these activities we do. It is misguided. So the devotee protects us by guiding us in the right direction. Is it clear? So Haribol, let's continue this tomorrow. Haribol Namaste. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestaya
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestaya
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Dayanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Dayanya
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Dayanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Dayanya
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaurabhakta Vrinda
Bhagavad Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaurabhakta Vrinda
Gopala Govinda Rama
Hari Bol Krishna
Madana Mohana
Hari Bol Krishna
Gopala Govinda Rama
Hari Bol Krishna
Madana Mohana. Everybody sing now. Haribol. Haribol, Nitai Gaur, Haribol, Haribol. Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana. Haribol, Haribol. Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana. Madana Mohana
Upalalo Vidarama, Madana Mohana, Upalalo Vidarama, Madana Mohana,
Upalalo Vidarama,
Haribo Krishna,
Madana Mohana,
Haribo Krishna,
Upalalo Vidarama,
Haribo Krishna,
Madana Mohana, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Shri Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Shri Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Haribol Nitai Gaur, Haribol. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namute Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prasayate